Hello everybody, welcome back once again to the Lord of the Rings Third Age playthrough. We're going to start out with the evil mode for Eastern Moria. I believe this one is fairly quick. I don't remember how many battles it actually is, but let's find out. Alright, first fight here, yeah, is the two. Alright, so we're gonna play as two cave trolls. I would say take out Idril first. I don't know how often she heals, but any amount of healing in these evil modes is kind of usually a huge issue, so we don't want her healing. Unfortunately, she's super tanky, so you kind of just gotta deal with that, I guess. Alright, so what was that? Is that Warcall? Alright. Excuse me. Elagos piercing might is a little annoying too, just because it's going to reduce the amount of damage that you can do as your trolls, but it's alright, let's take it out. It's weird, where did Barathor's helmet go? Yeah, so not much else to this. I mean, in all honesty, so these cave trolls, really, they only have two skills, and I don't know. I don't really know the difference between troll clubbing and massive swing. I always just use massive swing. You know, I'm not sure if one of them is faster, you know, or has a shorter cooldown time than the other. I don't really know, but I usually just hit him with the massive swings. Alright, that's that. So fight one, done. Ah, yes. Alright, so here's the drummer battle. I like I don't know. I like to use Dark Escape first. I don't really know that it ended up helping out at all. And then you're going to want to stun. But I guess I went for Elagos. Again, I don't know. That seems like a good choice. I think going after Idril first is smarter. Again, because she can heal. Hadhod can be a little bit annoying in these evil modes as well, just because he can cast Stone Shield. So that's, you know, I'd say it's as good as a heal, you know, if not better. Now that, yeah, so I'm just gonna heal up my guys. That's the other cool thing about this caster, guys. He can buff. I think a Dark Escape is the one that increases your dodge rate. And then, you know, he's got the heal, and then he's got the Flames of Eden or whatever, so. I don't know. I feel like, you can go, like, all out. You go full out on, you know, offense. But, I don't really know what's really better, if he's better off healing. The cool. Ooh. Yeah, okay, so for whatever reason, they didn't pick the archer in the back. If they can get rid of that guy, I think. Well, actually, I don't know. So I was thinking the guy in the back can really only be targeted. Actually, he can be technically, I think, targeted by all these characters, because all these characters have a ranged attack of some sort. You know, whether it be Cloudwater Fury or, you know, obviously Elagos can attack anything in the back. And then, Hadhod's got Flaming Fury. So, I don't know that I've ever actually seen Hadhod use Flaming Fury on this particular evil mode, but, you know, he's got it, so I don't see why he wouldn't. Anyways. Take out Idril. That's what I ended up doing, was taking out Idril, and then Elagos next, and Hadhod last, because he's just beefier, you know, and you don't want to basically, that's kind of how all these evil modes kind of boil down to. Is you tend to take out anybody that can heal, i.e. Idril. And then, you know, kind of make your way up from your, like, weaker characters. So, like, you know, Elagast is not tanky at all. So he makes a good second target, typically. And then Hadog's usually last. Just because, again, he's so tanky. You don't want to be absorbing all the damage from, you know, the other good players while you're trying to take down Hadog. Because again, he's so tanky that it's going to take you quite a few turns to try to take him down. And as always, any type of you know, CC or you know, stun, slows, that sort of thing, that's always going to be a good idea too for these hard modes. I vaguely remember, though, I was having problems with one of the latter evil modes where it didn't seem like the attack delaying abilities were working very well. Stuns seemed to work just fine, but any sort of attack delay, it didn't seem like those were working well. So again, I guess once we actually get there, I'll try to point out that issue, but for the most part, you know, CC is going to be your friend. Alright, what's up next? Alright, so fight 3 is the drummer and the cave troll. This one is fairly easy. You know, really the only... Actually, I don't really know if I'd say that there's much of a danger. One weird thing, though, that I noticed, it seems to me that Battle March, when you use it in the evil mode, it only affects one character, whereas if you use, or if the enemy uses that skill, it seems to affect both targets. So I don't know. Again, it feels like a little, they nerfed evil mode a little bit, which is super lame, but whatever. Here I would definitely take out Elagast first. God, he's super annoying because he keeps using training shot. So he can actually be kind of an issue to take out here. I guess it depends on how many times he decides to use training shot. And then couple that with the fact that sometimes he'll use piercing might here too. So then your character, your one, most likely your troll will, you know, be doing less damage. Or your troll to get the club. Generally, you're going to want to, if you can haste up both of your trolls, that's the way to go. But if you can't, definitely get this guy hasted, you know, to get your offense pumping out, and your drummer should be able to keep the other two up for the duration of the fight. It might get a little tight on me. I'm not sure how long this went on, but again, the real issue is when Elagast is using a training shot, because obviously it's healing him and dealing damage to him, so it can become a bit of a problem. Now here was not looking so great. So both of the trolls have the crippling wound on them or whatever. So they're, you know, taking damage every turn from that. I think anyway. Well, maybe the drummer's not affected by that. I thought it was both. Goblin Bane. Okay. It's a dumb choice. Anyways, luckily we finally got Elagast taken down. Definitely, I'd say take out Barathor next. Again, just for the same reason of the previous fights, is Hadog just has more money. It's just going to take you a little bit longer to take him down. Alright, there we got, finally felt comfortable enough to get a battle march off on the drummer too. At this point, though, I almost say it's kind of pointless. But and there's the stone flip. It's so annoying. Like I said, it's just as bad as it takes damage. It takes a bit of time to get through it, to pound through. We'll see how long it actually takes. I can't imagine it's going to be more than two hits from each, or 2 hits from 2 hits total. Things like that. There you go. I'm betting this isn't going to do anything. So that's the one thing that you got to remember too with that stone. It works the same way as obviously, as if you were playing them. You have to bust all the way through it in order to actually deal him some damage. This Sonic Fury is pretty lame. I'll be honest. It's actually really bad. It's a horrible use of AP. I wouldn't recommend using it until, like exactly like this. If you were down to just add you chose something else to be your final target, I would wait or hold off on that until you're fairly comfortable that you're not going to get dunked. Because, again, I mean, look at that. You're doing 200 damage. That takes 60 action points. So, again, it's not going to take too many arrows before you're getting low on AP. That may have done more damage to the other characters as well. Hadhot is just, he's got really good shadow defense, or sorry, spirit defense, so, that might be part of the reason why he's only taking it. But anyway, again, still, I don't feel it's a very good use of AP, but once it gets to the end of the fight, it doesn't really matter anymore. Alright, here we go. And this is basically it. This is the lamest or best fight, whatever, however you want to look at it. I think Pillar of Wrath one-shots everybody except Gandalf. Yep, there you go. So, that is how you should start out every single one of these with the Balrog. Just, Balrog. Just, Pillar of Wrath him. Oh yeah, Roaring Inferno does take AP away too. Huh. Well, there's the answer to that question. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Gandork. Unfortunately, I didn't think to use his flaming sword attack. I think that's actually his coolest attack. The whip is kind of cool, but the sword is the best. And that's that. So Barathor gets the 3rd Age Foul Blade of Morgul, and then what else do we get there? Some elf stone of something or other. The blade, I'm not sure if I actually ended up using that or not. I guess we'll find out here. 22 hours. Jesus, that's insane. It's insane for this point in the game. But again, that's I really spent a lot of time in Moria crafting. Which, by the way, is so lame. Oh my gosh. I think that Old Toby is just great. And then after that, you just probably want to just not craft anymore. It's just not really worth it. Alright. What do we got here? Jeez. Idril's working on her final sword craft ability, which is, again, really strange for me. I normally don't bother with her swordcraft at all.
A company of Uruk-hai passed this way.
What of the party from Rivendell?
It's difficult to tell. Wait. Here.
You should not scout so far ahead. These lands are filled with danger.
Have you been following us?
For many days. Your companion requested it.
Yes. I cannot protect all of you all of the time.
I am perfectly able to defend myself.
I have buried others who spoke those words.
I thank you for your aid. How may I be of service?
We must cleanse these gullies. Help me assemble patrols so we may cut past the rear guard of Uruk-hai.
Barathor getting all defensive. I don't need your help. Anyways, so like I said in the last video there, I want to talk a little bit about the elves, or the, what is it, the elf stone of Fell Shadow or something like that. I forget the name of it. Anyways, that thing is crazy. It's just it's actually really overpowered. So, and the reason why I say that is later on. Okay, so the first skill you get is Dispel, and then you get Whip of the Master. So Whip of the Master says that it prevents any type of slowing effects, which again, I don't really... Maybe there's something to that, but it seems to me that any type of, you know, quote-unquote slowing effects just means it's an attack delay. And it didn't, to me, it didn't really feel like it actually slowed down my characters. Again, maybe it actually does. But the effects must be so minimal that I barely even notice it. Anyways, so that's the second skill. I think the third one is something like Drain Health, and that's actually crazy. Just, it does exactly what you think. It takes health from the enemy and gives it to you. And like, if you've got any amount of spirit built into your characters, that just gets nuts. It's you know, it's not something that's going to hit ridiculously hard, but it's going to keep you healthy. And, you know, anytime where you're taking health off of the enemy while simultaneously giving it to yourself, you know, it's essentially like Elagost's Draining Shot, except probably I would argue that it's better because it can't miss. Ooh, triple crit, very nice. But anyways, so that's awesome. I'll be honest though, I rarely use that one. And then the next one is Crippling, and Crippling is awesome because it essentially gives a character that doesn't normally have an attack delaying ability, So somebody like Barathor, like, yeah, cool, Barathor's got a stunning strike, but a lot of things are immune to stun, whereas there aren't a whole lot of things that are immune to crippling effects. So, you know, again, with the way I like to play, I like to try to not take damage or minimize the amount of damage I'm doing, and crippling is awesome. It is really awesome for that. So that's the fourth skill. I think the fifth skill is... I'm going to have to look it up because I don't remember. I'm bad. Skills... Uh-oh. I bet I'm not even going to be able to look this up now. Sorry, hang on. I have to actually equip this elf stone to check. If I can find it. There it is. Elf Stone of Fell Shadow. Alright, so that's the name of it. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. So it's Dispel first, then Whip of the Master, then Silence, which, you know, so it prevents an enemy from using any spirit power attacks for a short time. So, as long as the enemy isn't immune to that, that's pretty OP too. So any of these casters, they can't do anything other than use their melee attacks, which are typically pretty weak. So, again, another really, really good ability, which Dispel, by the way, is pretty good too. It basically just strips buffs.
Fights well. Find all of my elves, Gondorian, and we shall be strong enough to fight our way out of this maze of rock.
Alright, see a little scene there. So anyways, again, so Dispel strips buffs. I don't know, I don't really find it all that useful. And then the fifth one is actually the Drain Health, and we already talked about that. Now, here's the thing. The sixth one is crazy overpowered. It's called Black Speech. Basically, it's a shadow-based attack that hits all enemies simultaneously, and it's a spirit attack. So there are very few multi-target abilities in the game. And Hadhod's got 2 of them. He's got Flames of Ruin and then Dragon Calling. I don't know. Flames of Ruin is awesome because it not only does damage, or it doesn't only just hit, like it hits really, really hard, But then it has a kind of like a cleaving wound effect to it as well, so it'll do damage over time.
Rohan's warriors must use that cave as an outpost.
It would appear they suffer heavy casualties defending their frontier.
How do we find a way inside?
Deeper in the ravines we shall find it.
Dragon Calling is really good too. It does, you know, quite a bit of damage, and it's obviously a multi-target as well. And then, but I don't really find that as good as the other one, Flames of Ruin, because again, Flames of Ruin, when you're using that, typically when you're using spells like that, it's I don't know, I just like the damage over time effect to Flames of Ruin too as well. So anyways, Idriel has one ability, and it's like the wizard horses or whatever. Let's see what the actual name of it is now, because I don't remember off the top of my head, and I never use it. Skills. Water Stallion, there you go. So, and that's the skill that she uses at the beginning of the game. Anyways, Black Speech, again, is insanely powerful. The other crazy thing about this this Elfstone of Fell Shadow is that the abilities are typically learned very, very quickly. So, just for instance here, let's see. You learn Dispel, like it only takes 5. So you use Dispel 5 times and you learn Dispel. And then you use Dispel 10 times, and that's how you can learn Whip of the Master. Now, you don't necessarily have to go in that order though, too. Like you can skip right from Dispel and learn Crippling right after. Crippling is only 20, Black Speech is 20. And then Fear, the 7th skill, is 30. So it paralyzes a single enemy with Fear for a short time, and that's OP too. That's just crazy awesome. It doesn't work on everything. Obviously, it's it's just like some of the other skills in the game. It's not always going to work, but when it does, it's nuts. And so a feared enemy can't. I don't think it can cast. It can't. It can't use like melee skills. It can't use range skills. So basically, it's a seal all. And then on top of that, when you hit them, they don't. It doesn't wear off like sleep would. And then they can't counterattack as well, I believe, when they're feared. So again, it's pretty crazy. It's super overpowered. And then the final skill is probably the best. It's called Wheel of Fire. So it's it says it's a powerful area of effect spirit attack that does tremendous damage over time. And that's exactly what it does. It hits just as hard as Black Speech initially, and then it has a damage over time component on it too. So once you get Wheel of Fire, Black Speech is completely pointless because they actually cost the same amount of AP to use. But Wheel of Fire is going to have that damage over time effect on it too. So there are, I guess, times where you could maybe argue you would use Black Speech, but that's because that would be for some sort of leveling opportunity where you don't want to be hitting something with damage over time, or you want to hit it with a bunch of spirit damage first, and then you want to put something to sleep after. That would be the time that you would use Black Speech over Wheel of Fire. But again, most of the time you're just going to want to use Wheel of Fire. So anyways, all right, so that's the Elfstone of Fell Shadow. And again, you learn those abilities so fast, it's just crazy. And then the cool thing too is, typically if you're trying to learn abilities like that, sometimes it can be a pain in the butt because, like with Hadhad, for example, there, until you get Endure Flame, his first 2 abilities are insanely expensive, AP-wise. But with the Elfstone of Fell Shadow, that's not the case. Dispel, I think, is 40, I think? 40 or 50, something like that. And then Whip of the Master is 30. So once you learn Whip of the Master, you're set. The other thing is, like, if you don't have Elagos Arrows of Sleep or whatever it is, yeah, Arrows of Sleep, and then like Lingering Sleep. Because typically that's a really good. Once you get that, it's really easy to farm abilities. And what I mean by that is you can typically find something like a heal. If your characters have a heal, or like Whip of the Master is a really good one like that. You know, where it's something that's not damaging the enemy, so you can just keep it slept the entire time. But the other cool thing with that Elfstone of Fell Shadow is that even if you don't have that ability with Elagast, once you get to Crippling, which again only takes about, well, minimal to learn Crippling, you would need 25 uses of Dispel, which, you know, kind of seems like a lot, but trust me, it goes extremely fast. But once you learn Crippling, you can keep an enemy, you know, you can keep pushing back an enemy's turn the whole time. And Crippling never misses. Again, there are some enemies that are immune to it, but that's fairly rare, and you're not really going to see enemies that are immune to Crippling until much later in the game. But anyways, so again, it's a really easy Elfstone to farm up abilities for. And from this point on, you'll probably maybe the next video or the video after that, you're gonna see me essentially using the crap out of those shadow abilities. I'll still try to, you know, work in some abilities here and there, but you know, like normal abilities, I should say. But probably from that next video on, or for a very long time, you'll see me spamming the crap out of those Shadowcraft abilities, because again, they're crazy overpowered, and I don't know, it's fun. So, and I mean, in all honesty, that's really the way, or that's the payday, is right around here, and that's what I mean by that is that's really what I build these characters for, or a few of them anyway. Obviously, Elagast is not going to be lumped in with the rest of the characters that really take advantage of those Elfstones.
Careful, my friend.
What is that grinding sound?
I believe this is the den of a very old, very hungry warg.
Ah! He almost took me head off.
Hurry, in here! We have a real battle on our hands!
But 4 out of my 6 characters will mostly just be casting towards the end of the game. So, I guess, yeah, again, from this point on, you'll see a pretty drastic change in the use of my abilities, I suppose, I would say. Elagast pretty much stays the same. Yeah, every once in a while he'll throw out a crippling shot or a sleep arrow, but a lot of the other characters really start to change in how I use them. Here is I think this is called the Old Warg, and man, this guy is totally awesome looking. He's got a stunning bite, so if you've got stand fast, you'll probably want to toss that out right off the bat. And we'll just stand around for a little while, looking at this awesome org. Anyways, so like I said, so he's got a stunning bite. Obviously, get the stand fast up right away if you've got it. If not, I guess just pray that you don't get stunned, because it's really nasty. Or just make sure you keep him crippled the entire time, or keep using crippling shot. Toss out Company Valor. Here you go. Because you don't, obviously you want to increase the chances that Elagast is gonna land that. Hopefully you've been working on his dexterity. If not, again, I guess cross your fingers that you can actually keep him crippled. Otherwise, if you've got the Elfstone of Fell Shadow on somebody, and you've learned crippling, that will be another option for you. I believe he is immune to just about everything else. Let's check paralyzing shot though. Yep, immune. Alright. So unfortunately, you're not going to be able to stop him from using his melee abilities, which I fully expected. And here I think I just started working on Barathor's stone. I think he may have been the first one I taught all of the Shadowcraft skills to. And then I think I moved on to Hadhot after that, and then Idril for the time being, and I just taught those 3. Obviously, again, I didn't bother with Elagast just because I just don't feel there's really no need. he doesn't really get anything out of that stone that, you know, I find useful. You know, he's already got crippling shot, and he's already got sleeping arrows, so I mean, I guess I could teach him fear or drain health. Well, drain health, he's got crippling, or sorry, draining shot too. So again, he just, unfortunately, he doesn't get a whole lot out of it. And then with, you know, Black Speech and Wheel of Fire, his spirit stat is really low. So again, he's just not gonna get much use out of that. So I didn't bother. I'm getting him. Looks like he's got to be debuffed pretty well though by now. Guess piercing might. He's got crippling shot on him. A Hue armor would be a good one to toss on him, I think. Anyway, I don't know how much armor this guy's actually got. It's usually a decent idea though. Fellowship Grace going. Obviously, always a good idea, especially if I'm, you know, or especially if you're going to be doing any amount of ability farming, kind of like what I'm doing right now. Oofta. Excuse me. Yeah, that shield's okay looking. I don't know. Random thought of the video. Oh, he's got... Okay, so I did equip him with that sword from the evil mode. So, Weeping Blade, I'm not sure if we discussed it at all, but Weeping Blade's going to add a damage over time effect to your target if you attack, and that's just if you use the regular attack command. The cool thing about that is it's free. And then I don't believe Barathor gets any type of bleeding effects, or does he? Maybe I'm crazy. It's he might get one. I just don't ever use it. Nope, I'm not seeing any. Nope, he doesn't. So my bad. So, anyways, that does give him an ability that he wouldn't normally have. And again, you know, I feel like those attacks are pretty decent. That one, though, I'm not sure if that goes off of his spirit stat like Hadhod's does. But if that is the case, his bleed would be extremely powerful. Again, and that's because, you know, he's got a really built-up spirit stat. So, yeah, something to keep in mind, I guess. And how have I not learned another skill yet? I feel like I've spammed that at least 10 times. Maybe not. I'm not sure if I went right for crippling after Dispel or not, or if I went for... Oh, yep, I did. There you go, crippling. So that's why. So now... Yep. Alright, that's cool. So I skipped Whip of the Master and went right for crippling. Whip of the Master is cheaper. Again, it only costs 30 AP, as opposed to, I believe crippling costs 40. But, you know, one of the good ways to farm abilities in this game is to go to like a random encounter, not one of these, not a fixed encounter, because I don't think you can ever retreat from the fixed encounters. But if you go to a random, and then if there's one particular person that you want to teach, you know, like Shadowcraft skills too, in this case, this would be a perfect example. But what you would do then would be make the other two characters retreat, and then just spam crippling over and over and over and over and over. And then, you know, once you're inevitably going to run out of AP, so just use up, you know, use up some items. Obviously, probably a good idea would be is if you can sleep your target, that's probably best. You know, with Elagos, especially if he's got lingering sleep. And then, you know, again, spam crippling over and over, and then the enemy just won't ever wake up too, because crippling doesn't actually wake a target. And that's another really kind of cool thing about it. Alright, so what do we get here? Cracked Elfstone of Action Enhancement, lame. Third Age Fangorn Steel Falchion. I don't know. That thing's kind of junk too. I don't like the minus dex and minus speed. Granted, it's only 1, but I don't use her sword skills very often, so I suspect I didn't even bother equipping it. Alright, let's get a good ability learned here. Yeah, I don't typically use the taunt ability either. So, and maybe I should use that more, but for whatever reason I don't. Here in the Warg Cave, I know there's some hidden items along the back wall. So hopefully I do a good job of checking those out, but it's looking like we're coming up on the end of this video, so I think I'll... Oh yeah, alright. So we explore, I think, this cave a little better in the next video, but... anyways, I am going to cut the commentary here. So, I hope this guide was helpful, and hope you guys keep joining me. So, thanks for watching.